And this is your plan, John. For the first time in history, you will be taxing people's health care benefits. By the way, the average policy costs about $12,000. So if you got $5,000 and it's going to cost you $12,000, that's a loss for you. Last point about Senator McCain's plan is that insurers right now, the main restrictions on what they do is primarily state law. And under Senator McCain's plan, those rules would be stripped away, and you would start seeing a lot more insurance companies cherry-picking and excluding people from coverage. That, I think, is a mistake, and I think that this is a fundamental difference in our campaign and how we would approach health care.
What about that?
Hey, Joe, you're rich. Congratulations. Because what Joe wanted to do was buy the business that he's been working for 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you said that you wanted to spread the wealth. But in other words, take Joe's money, and then you decide what to do with it. Now, Joe, you're rich. Congratulations. And you will then fall into the category where you'll have to pay a fine if you don't provide health insurance that Senator Obama mandates, not the kind that you think is best for your family, your children, your employees, but the kind that he mandates for you. That's big government at its best. Now, 95% of the people in America will receive more money under my plan because they will receive not only their present benefits, which may be taxed, which will be taxed, but then you add $5,000 onto it, except for those people that have the gold-plated Cadillac insurance policies that have to do with cosmetic surgery and transplants and all of those kinds of things. And the good thing about this is they'll be able to go across America. The average cost of a health care insurance plan in America today is $5,800. I'm going to give them $5,000 to take with them wherever they want to go. And this will give them affordability. This will give them availability. This will give them a chance to choose their own futures, not have Senator Obama and government decide that for them. This really gets down to the fundamental difference in our philosophies. If you notice that in all of his proposals, Senator Obama wants government to do the job. Senator Obama wants government to do the job. I want, Joe, you to do the job. I want to leave money in your pocket. I want you to be able to choose the health care for you and your family. That's what I'm all about. And we've had too much government and too much spending. And the government the size of government has grown by 40%. In the last 8 years. We can't afford that in the next 8 years. And Senator Obama's, with the Democrats in charge of Congress, things have gotten worse. If you notice, they've been in charge the last 2 years.
All right, a short response.
Very briefly. You all just heard my plan. If you've got an employer-based health care plan, you keep it. Now, under Senator McCain's plan, there is a strong risk that people would lose their employer-based health care. That's the choice you'll have, is having your employer no longer provide you health care. And don't take my word for it. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which generally doesn't support a lot of Democrats, said that this plan could lead to the unraveling of the employer-based health care system. All I want to do, if you've already got health care, is lower your costs. That includes you, Joe.
All right. Let's stop there and go to another question. And this one goes to Senator McCain. Senator McCain, you believe Roe v. Wade should be overturned. Senator Obama, you believe it shouldn't. Could either of you ever nominate someone to the Supreme Court who disagrees with you on this issue? Senator McCain.
I would never, and have never in all the years I've been there, imposed a litmus test on any nominee to the court. That's not appropriate to do.
You do
I think
want
it was
Roe
a
v.
bad
Wade
decision.
to be overturned.
I thought it was a bad decision. I think there was a lot of decisions that were bad. I think that the decision should rest in the hands of the states. I'm a Federalist, and I believe strongly that we should have nominees to the United States Supreme Court based on their qualifications rather than any litmus test. Now, let me say that there was a time a few years ago when the United States Senate was about to blow up. Republicans wanted to have just a majority vote to confirm a judge, and the Democrats were blocking in an unprecedented fashion. We got together, 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats. You were offered a chance to join. You chose not to because you were afraid of the appointment of, quote, conservative judges. I voted for Justice Breyer and Justice Ginsburg not because I agreed with their ideology, but because I thought they were qualified and that elections have consequences when presidents are nominated. This is a very important issue we're talking about. Senator Obama voted against Justice Breyer and Justice Roberts on the grounds that they didn't meet his ideological standards. That's not the way we should judge these nominees. Elections have consequences. They should be judged on their qualifications. And so that's what I will do. I will find the best people in the world, in the United States of America, who have a history of strict adherence to the Constitution and
but
not
even if it was
legislating from the bench.
Even someone who had a history of being for abortion rights, you would consider them?
I would consider anyone in their qualifications. I do not believe that someone who has supported Roe v. Wade that would be part of those qualifications. But I certainly would not impose any litmus test.
All right.
Well, I think it's true that we shouldn't apply a strict litmus test, and the most important thing in any judge is their capacity to provide fairness and justice to the American people. And it is true that this is going to be, I think, one of the most consequential decisions of the next president. It is very likely that one of us will be making at least one, and probably more than one, appointments, and Roe versus Wade probably hangs in the balance. Now, I would not provide a litmus test, but I am somebody who believes that Roe versus Wade was rightly decided. I think that abortion is a very difficult issue, and it is a moral issue, and one that I think good people on both sides can disagree on. But what ultimately I believe is that women, in consultation with their families, their doctors, their religious advisors, are in the best position to make this decision. And I think that the Constitution has a right to privacy in it that shouldn't be subject to state referendum any more than you know, our First Amendment rights are subject to state referendum, any more than you know, many of the other rights that we have should be subject to you know, popular vote. So this is going to be an important issue. I will look for those judges who have an outstanding judicial record, who have the intellect, and who hopefully have a sense of what real world folks are going through. I'll just give you one quick example. Senator McCain and I disagreed recently when the Supreme Court made it more difficult for a woman named Lilly Ledbetter to press her claim for pay discrimination. For years, she had been getting paid less than a man had been paid for doing the exact same job. And when she brought a suit saying equal pay for equal work, the judges said, well, you know, it's taken you too long to bring this lawsuit, even though she didn't know about it until fairly recently. We tried to overturn it in the Senate. I supported that effort to provide better guidance to the courts. John McCain opposed it. I think that it's important for judges to understand that if a woman is out there trying to raise a family, trying to support her family, and is being treated unfairly, then the court has to stand up if nobody else will. And that's the kind of judge that I want.
Time's up.
Obviously, that law waived the statute of limitations, which you could have gone back 20 or 30 years. It was a tri-lawyer's dream. Let me talk to you about an important aspect of this issue. We have to change the culture of America. Those of us who are proudly pro-life understand that. And it's got to be courage and compassion that we show to a young woman who's facing this terribly difficult decision. Senator Obama, as a member of the Illinois State Senate, voted in the Judiciary Committee against a law that would provide immediate medical attention to a child born as a failed abortion. He voted against that. And then on the floor of the state Senate, as he did 130 times as a state senator, he voted present. Then there was another bill before the Senate Judiciary Committee in the state of Illinois, not that long ago, where he voted against a ban on partial birth abortion, one of the late-term abortion, really one of the bad procedures, terrible. And then on the floor of the Illinois State Senate, he voted present. I don't know how you vote present on something like that. I don't know how you align yourself with the extreme aspect of the pro-abortion movement in America. And that's his record. And that's a matter of his record.